Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I am your principal on duty, Dr. Anika Logan. In today's video, I will be sharing with you some tips that help me to maintain a healthy work-life balance as a school administrator. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Being a principal is not an easy feat. As the saying goes, heavy hangs the head that wears the crown. I can certainly tell you that that is true. As a school principal, you are tasked with so many responsibilities. Your days are so unpredictable. You are faced with so many challenges. Despite the plans that you will have to roll out a very smooth school year, and you have all these goals that you would like to accomplish, it never goes that way. But there are resources that will help you along the way. There are personnel and people that you can rely on to help you to get the job done. However, at the end of the day, you are a human being and you must take care of you. So for me as a school principal, I utilize the support that I have. And if I'm new to a school environment, what I do is I assess the culture and climate within the school. And that assessment helps me to identify the folks who I will be able to rely on to provide the support that I will need to be effective as an instructional leader. One of the things I do is I establish relationships. I delegate and I rely on the strengths and competencies of my faculty and staff. In doing so, I am able to focus on the task, which is to provide more instructional supervision for teachers. And that allows me time to be in the classrooms supporting my teachers and students alike. You never want to feel as a leader as if you are the only one that can get the job done. That is why it's very important to build the capacity of your team and rely on the strength of those who are capable of taking on various responsibilities. That will reduce you feeling burnt out or overwhelmed. Being an educator is not only a passion, I believe it's my calling. And so I love what I do. In turn, as a school leader, I want to know that my teachers are very happy with what they do. So I try to create a school climate where faculty morale is very high. And if the teachers are happy coming to work and happy doing what they're doing, then I believe we will get more effort and more outcomes from those who are charged to do the work. So faculty morale is one of the areas that I usually focus on. And when teachers are happy, I'm happy. I'm very purposeful about providing the resources that teachers will need and making sure that they're comfortable doing what they're being asked to do. This includes addressing behaviors of faculty and staff that are counterproductive towards the mission of the school. These behaviors will most likely damage the culture and climate within your school. And so you want to make sure that you address these behaviors, and that's what I do. I make sure that I weed out these behaviors, minimize the instances where they will occur, and also be purposeful about building my team, a team of like-minded individuals who share the same vision and mission of the school. Another approach that I usually take, and it's very helpful, I find it to be very helpful, is I identify and I help teachers those who are not very sure about their areas of strength, and I match that strength with the goals that we have in place for the school. I also match their strength with the grade levels that are in need of that kind of support. And so I find that, sometimes we have teachers who say, I'm a fifth grade teacher, but we're not generating fifth grade results. But I find that you have more tenacity to work with lower grades. And so, I'll help you to realize that you will be more helpful to the school when you serve in another capacity. And at times that, I find that to be a rewarding approach, because then you will get the feedback like, Dr. Logan, thank you so much. I believe this is my niche. As a school principal, you oftentimes experience various negative emotions more than the average school personnel will. And when I speak about negative emotions, I'm speaking about like your stress level is way through the roof. You feel burnt out. You often feel isolated. You sometimes feel like the world is on your shoulder. So these are some self-preservation tips that I use, and I find them to be very helpful. One of which is I practice meditation and self-reflection, and I think that is very helpful. And with that self-reflection, I was able to realize that I can reduce my stress level by spending time to think about a decision before I make the decision, because I am of the nature where I want something to be done and it should be done immediately. But when dealing with parents, teachers, students, and navigating issues within the school, I find that it's very helpful when I step back, I reflect on the issue, I reflect on the evidence and all the facts that I can gather, and then I will be able to process it and make a more informed decision. And that usually, sometimes the feedback and the response is still a negative response, but I believe it helps. It does help, and it minimizes the emotions that come with that stress, that immediate stress. Another self-preservation approach for me is I set boundaries, and I'm very strict and I adhere to those rules. So one of which is, when I'm at work, I'm working. When I'm home, it's time for my family. Therefore, I do not answer emails after 7 p.m. And that is very, very helpful, unless it's an emergency. And if it's an emergency, then I would be contacted on my cell phone by my superiors. I also stick to my self-care routine. This includes, frequent trips to the spa to get my nails done, doing a pedicure, a manicure, sometimes massages, and of course, a little retail therapy. That doesn't hurt. I enjoy shopping, so that helps me a great deal to regain that balance that I believe I need from time to time. I am also a part of various professional learning network where, as school leaders alike, we share ideas, we ask questions in an open forum. We get good feedback, good suggestions. We apply those best practices, and it's usually very rewarding that you can learn from your peers, and also to know that the issues that you're facing, you are really not alone. So I rely on that professional network. I want to give a big shout out to my colleagues who are also educators. They are my longtime friends, They are my confidant. They're my biggest cheerleaders. I want to give a shout out to Mrs. Blackwood, Mrs. Ling Stewart, Dr. Powell, Mrs. DaCosta Williams, Mrs. Hoylett, and Mrs. Swaby. Big up yourself, ladies. I couldn't have done this without your support throughout the years. As a Catholic school principal, I get the opportunity to interact with my faith on a daily basis. And I rely on the support of my priests and other vowed religious friends that I have. Father Pierre, Father Tolo, Sister Mary Pauline, they have been very helpful in keeping me grounded and focused on my journey as a faith-filled leader. And I also just want to give a big shout out and thank you to them. But on a serious note, I get to pray at work. I get to talk about my faith at work. I get to lead kids on their faith journey at school. And that's something that I'm very, very proud of, because in our society, you know, religion is not a part of the school system here in the United States, but the public school system, I mean. But I'm very happy to have this opportunity as a Catholic school leader, and it benefits me greatly, and it helps to create a school community that is driven and rooted in our faith. Last but not least, other than me relying on the support of the people around me, I rely on tools to help me to work smartly and efficiently. Some of these tools, we're a Google school, and so Google for Education has a great deal of products that are very useful in managing your time, being very responsive with communication, collaborating on projects. So we use Google Docs, we use Google Calendar, we use Google Sheets, Google Slides, and Google Forms, right? And of course, I utilize a very handy dandy journal. This is where I take notes for the day, making sure that I don't miss any task that must get done. So here, you know, this is where I keep all my notes, and then I get to reflect on them. I have a checklist of things that I need to get done, and I do my check off from time to time, especially at the end of the week. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, be sure to subscribe to this channel and let us have a conversation in the comments section. Let me know what are some of the tips that you use to survive at work, and also, did I share any tip that you will find useful or you have been using? Let's have a conversation in the comments section. Bye bye.